Hey, welcome back everyone to the Educational AD Podcast. Today our guest is Jen Brooks. Jen is the Director of Athletics at the Ursuline Academy in St. Louis, Missouri, and she's also the creator of a great website, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. We're going to talk about that later in the show. But Jen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
Well, we're having a lot of fun with them, so I hope you do too.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. So thanks for pushing this out there.
Well, you know as well as anyone how busy the day of an athletic director is. So we're going to jump right into things. We always like to let our listeners get to know our guests. So tell us, where you were born, where you grew up, how you got involved in sports.
Sure. So born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I grew up and my dad was a teacher, a coach, a high school athletic director, a principal, a president, and he's full circle now back teaching and coaching. So I spent many a Saturday afternoons on his sidelines while he was coaching football. He umpired, so I sat behind the backstop, usually watching him umpire with my big league chew, thinking I was pretty cool. And then we spent evenings. I would be in the backyard, and I would be, pitching to him, or he'd be rebounding when I, was shooting. I played 3 sports in high school: basketball, soccer, and softball. And then I actually even played 3 sports in college as well. I went to Maryville University in St. Louis, and I ended up graduating college in 3 years. And crazily, I can always win this in a trivia contest. No one can ever guess what my degree is in, because you would never guess that an athletic director has this degree. But the secret's out. I will tell you, my degree is in religious studies. So when I was, thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, I knew I wanted to have a positive impact on young people. And I wasn't good at math. Can't remember anything, so history's out. I love to read, but grammar's not. So it's okay. I can do this whole faith thing because that's a big part of my life too. And so so I graduated with a religious studies degree, and I met my husband in college. I've been married to my husband Don. It'll be 25 years this October, and we have 2 awesome young adults that we have 2 kids. Nora's 22. She just graduated from college. And Luke is 20, and he's currently he's going to be a junior in college this fall. And I'll tell you, having those 2, they were both student athletes in high school, and Nora went on to play in college, was so beneficial for me. I learned a lot having student athletes live in my house. So that really helped my perspective. It helped me be a better athletic director. And even now, Nora is one of our coaches on staff here. And having a coach in the house is another good thing, because she's not afraid to say, I don't think you're doing that right, Mom, or have you considered this? Where not all my coaches are, ready to say that. So that's a snapshot of my 46, almost 47 years of life.
Well, I can certainly relate. I'm married to a career coach, an educator, and our 3 kids are involved in sports. So it was great to have those sounding boards. Hey, what do you think's going on with the team, or that sort of thing. So I can definitely relate to that. Well, talk about how that athletic career, high school and college, has led you to your career as an AD.
Sure. So once I graduated Maryville, I applied for the job here at Ursuline. So I've been at Ursuline this is going to be my 27th year. It's the only school I've been at. And when I applied for the job, Sister Mary Phillip, God rest her soul, looks at me. She's going to psychology, but she looks me up and down and literally says, "You look healthy. Why don't you teach health too?" Not so sure Sister would say that these days, but she said that 27 years ago. And so I was hired on to teach full-time health and theology. I was also the assistant soccer and softball coach back at my alma mater at Maryville. And then I was the JV basketball coach here at Ursuline. And the person in charge of the PE department was also the athletic director at the time. And just, I was young. I was dating my husband at the time. So, I had time. I was teaching full-time and coaching 3 sports. I'm not sure if I can really say that, but I thought I did anyway. And so I told Jean, who was the AD at the time, hey, listen, if you need any help, I'm happy to help you. I want to learn more about your job. And then by the next year, she had some issues, some health issues that she had to step away from school for a while. And so then it was just natural that I stepped in. And I say natural, but I had no experience. And I'm 23. I mean, when sister hired me, she said, Jen, how old are you? And I said, sister, I'll be 21 before school starts. That's insane. So here I am, this young female with no, real sense of, experience, administrative experience, very little classroom experience, little coaching experience. And now I'm the athletic director. And that rolled into a full-time job. It rolled into here I am and what I'm doing today. And it was part of God's plan for sure. This is definitely where I'm meant to be. It was a unique path to get there for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Ursuline. Obviously, you've been there for a period of time. I'm going to guess you've not only seen some changes, but you probably initiated some of those changes as well. What are some of the programs maybe that you have helped develop over the years that you take the greatest pride in?
We've offered new sports under my reign as the athletic director. We started lacrosse and racquetball, and then a couple of the other in golf. And I'm really proud of cheer and dance. Not every school, not every athletic director considers cheer and dance a sport, but we certainly do here at Ursuline. And my cheer and dancers are some of the hardest working athletes we have in the building. And so I'm really proud that we offer this unique and wide-ranging opportunities for all these ladies. So Ursuline offers every single sport a female can play in the state of Missouri under our state association umbrella.
Well, I echo your feelings about cheer. As a young AD, I got some great advice from one of my mentors, and they said to make sure that you don't have cheer and dance as a club, that you embrace them as a full sport. And I've been blessed with just some great coaches over the years, some great kids. And I think athletic directors, it's kind of a cliche, they say 90% of your problems in the athletic department are from cheer parents. Well, that's not true at my school. I'm going to guess it's not true at yours either. Our cheerleaders do a great job.
Yeah, they're great to have.
Let's talk a little bit about mentors. Growing up, I'm going to guess your dad was probably one of your mentors, but who have been some of the people that have been impactful in your life and your career with regards to athletics?
On a local level, I'll say it was Debbie Watson. And so when I was in college, my second year of college, I hurt my knee playing soccer. And so I had surgery. I wasn't going to be able to play basketball that winter, and I needed a job. And so I went to my coach, who was also the athletic director, and I said, hey, Lonnie, can you help me find a job? And he said, sure. So he sent me down the road to Villa Duchesne, where Debbie Watson was the athletic director, because Debbie needed a gym supervisor. So the first day I'm there, I'm sitting there, I'm on, I have this huge leg brace, I'm on crutches, and in the room next door, I can hear Debbie say, I need a freshman basketball coach like now. And so I hobble over and I say, Debbie, I'll do that. So she hired me. So I'm here. I am in college playing 3 sports, coaching at Villa Duchesne, and Debbie is the one who hired me. So Debbie really is who I credit with giving me my break into the high school setting. So Debbie was the athletic director at Villa, and then within a few years, then I'm at the athletic director at Ursuline. We're in the same conference. We're athletic directors together in the same conference. And while St. Louis is full of high schools, there's only a handful of female athletic directors here in St. Louis, and Debbie was one of them. So for me to sit in these meetings full of all men and Debbie had the courage to say, I disagree, or have you thought about this? I will always give, Debbie props for helping me to have courage to find my space at the table like she did. So Debbie for sure locally. I'm a huge admirer of all things Pat Summit and everything that she brought to women's athletics. I I happened to go to a coaching clinic. This was probably 15 years ago, and Mickey DeMoss, who was our assistant at the time, was speaking at this clinic. I had never heard of Mickey, and Pat really hadn't been on my radar. I kind of lived in a small bubble, I would say. And once I heard Mickey speak, I was enthralled. I just wanted more. I needed more. I went out and bought all of Pat Summitt's books. I did my research. I started following her as best I could. And then that was when my daughter Nora was little. And so for about 7 summers straight, our family vacation was going to the University of Tennessee for Pat's basketball camps. And it was amazing. And so I'm definitely a student of her. In fact, in my office, at her funeral, Candace Parker said this. It says, right foot, left foot, breathe, repeat. I'm a lefty, so I think Candace might have said left foot, right foot, but I'm a lefty. So my daughter made me the sign. So when I get stressed in my office, I look up and I see the sign and it says right foot, left foot, breathe, repeat.
That is great. Speaking of leadership, you certainly took a leadership role in the creation of the global community of women in high school sports. Tell us that story. What was the idea? How did you make it happen? And what's going on with it right now?
Sure. So, I'll be honest. Being a female in a male-dominated industry is lonely. And it's hard and it's not easy and it can be very frustrating. And I spent 20 some odd years. I mean, it wasn't until the last couple of years that I really get this going. So I spent 24, 25 years of my career kind of just being really frustrated and really outside, sitting at the table, but sort of squeezed out. And if you know anything about me, that does not sit well with me. I'm the oldest of 7. I'm a leader by nature. Just because I'm a girl or a woman or whatever doesn't mean I shouldn't have my rightful space. And so once I found the courage to say and then believe it, because that's 2 different things, that I deserve to be here, I earn the right to be here. I women high school sports, because when we go to these conferences, these national conferences, these local conferences, even local meetings, it's for the most part the good old boys club. And people these men, for the most part, stand around and have their conversations and barely acknowledge when I walk into a room. And so I talked about it earlier, in the St. Louis area, we have so many high schools and maybe 5 female athletic directors. So to think about walking in a room of 200 people and only 5 of us are women. So we have to do more to help each other out as females. We have to do more to help our male allies, our male counterparts out, to understand what it's like for us to be in those rooms, to sit at those tables, because we need each other. You need me, I need you, vice versa. But then I also have to think too about what are we doing to encourage more women to become athletic directors? What are we doing to encourage more women to become coaches? I work at an all-girls school. It's so important for me. I think it's one of the biggest jobs I have, is to model for them what it's like, to be a woman in a male-dominated industry. That I have to model for them courage. I have to model for them, my authentic self. And sometimes that's, saying, I'm a little scared to go into this room of all guys, but I'm going to do it, And so I started the global community of women in high school sports because we needed a place. We needed a place for us to support each other and network and just relate and hang out, because you all have that place and that space. We needed space too. And I kind of forget what the impetus was, but at the national convention this past December out in Baltimore, I was able to kind of organize a happy hour, and it kind of parlayed into a few things. And Huddle did the Breakthrough Summit, and they offered this great space for athletic directors, and it ended up being all female athletic directors. And so we just really grabbed a huge momentum at the national conference, at the AD's national conference. And with that, then we felt good. We were starting to build a little bit. And then this COVID-19 hit. And Rebecca Moe from Seattle reached out to me, and we talked about, okay, we've got this group now. We've got this list of women who want to connect. let's connect and let's start talking about how ADs across the country can help each other dealing with this COVID-19. And so we created monthly office hours. And so we met once a month, and our audience grew. I mean, we have about 500 people on the mailing list. And the really cool thing, the thing that I'm really proud of, is that men joined us, you know, because that's what it's all about. We're working together. We all have a shared voice. And so the global community has grown a ton. We've got a website, Global Community of Women in Sports.com is our website. We're going to continue with these monthly hours. Yeah, so the global community was important for us females to have a space, and then also to figure out ways and to encourage the next generation.
Oh, I just think it's great. Again, I already mentioned, you know, my wife's a career coach and educator. I had two daughters that played high school and college sports. So anything that's going to promote our profession, promote educational athletics, and, oh, by the way, you know, promote women, all for it. And you mentioned Rebecca Moe. You know, Rebecca was one of our presenters at our Florida virtual conference this year, and she's actually going to be a guest here in a couple more episodes. So let us know what we can do to promote your website. You mentioned COVID, and we've been asking our athletic directors to share their thoughts. Obviously, nationwide, we've seen an entire range of responses. States have announced that they're delaying fall sports, that they're going ahead with fall sports as scheduled. Even in our own state of Florida, we are all over the board. Our state association wants to start on schedule. Schools in the southern part of the state are saying we're not ready. Many of the schools in my area up north in the panhandle of Florida are saying, hey, we're ready to go. What's going on in Missouri, and maybe more specifically, you know, what's going on at Ursuline Academy with regards to, let's say, summer conditioning as well as fall sports startup?
So in Missouri, our state association has said that they plan on starting fall sports August 10th. That's our normal start date. They say that they anticipate a fall sports season, and whether that is a state-wide season or it's just certain cities of the state that can play, that'll happen. So for instance, in St. Louis, we do not have this under control. Our numbers are spiked. This is not good. We have jumped from phase 1. We've reverted back to we've gone from phase 2. We're back to phase 1 now. So we're pulling out all these things back as far as what we can do with our sports. The St. Louis County shut down youth sports yesterday. And so things don't look great in St. Louis. St. Louis University said that fall sports is not going to happen. About 20 minutes ago, they came out with that. And I think what's going to happen is that we'll have a regional championship in St. Louis as opposed to the rest of the state competing. So I think that'll be something interesting and different. Our state association has said that if you only offer virtual options, you cannot participate in sports. And so I know that there were a couple of school districts in the area here in St. Louis that were going to start off and do either first quarter, first semester virtual only. But now that the state association has said that, they're kind of going back and saying, okay, we need to think about some hybrid models. As far as we go at Ursuline, we're doing little practices, 10 max, social distancing, coaches are wearing their masks. We're doing all that. We intend to start school 5 days a week in person with our whole student body here at one time. But that's a month away, so who knows what will happen. I think that, if we end up, saying, okay, fall sports is not going to happen, I have some things in my back pocket that I'm going to pull out and trying to give our kids some sort of athletic opportunities that they can do, even if they can't necessarily compete with another school. I've got some ideas how we can compete in-house and even virtually.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, our state has a big task force meeting coming up via Zoom. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Talking about other opportunities, one thing that we've done at our school, in Tallahassee, we're trying to promote a little bit more statewide, is esports. Are y'all doing anything with esports at Ursuline?
Yes, we were just putting that together last spring when everything hit. And so we've got a handful of girls that are really excited about this and really working hard with some of our staff members to put together an esports. So yes, we anticipate having esports fully operational by September 1.
Okay, very good. We'll have to put our coaches in touch. They can do a Missouri versus Florida competition there.
Love it.
Let's talk a little bit about some good stuff. What are some of your favorite aspects of being an AD? What gets you excited about coming to school each day?
For me, it's the girls. I just love, they give me energy and they give me purpose. And it's the girls. I love being with the girls. I love, I want to be that role model. I want to be that person that they can say, you know what, I can do that. Oh, no, in fact, you know what, I can even be better than her. I want that. I want them to think that, to do that. I encourage them to dream big. And I always, remind them that there's good in everything. So it's the girls. That's why I do anything here.
Mm-hmm. If we take COVID off the table and we say that, okay, it's the old normal, whatever that was, what's something that you're working on right now at Ursuline, whether it's facilities or programs or whatever? What's something that you're currently working on that you want to see come to fruition, hopefully, let's say by the end of this coming school year?
That's a great question. We're always striving for excellence here. So I think I don't think necessarily it's big picture things. It's the day-to-day thing. So what can we do on a daily basis that we can do better that will create excellence overall? Is that in how we present ourselves? Is that how, increasing intensity of our workouts? Is that providing different professional development for my staff? Is it providing leadership opportunities for our girls? If money wasn't an issue, I would, think of the technology and all the professional development I would do. And so, I think I take that question and I just say, we're going to strive for excellence every day. And we're going to do that by starting with, the details and our daily, behavior and our daily things. We're going to stand tall and we're going to get the job done.
Love professional development. I don't think we can ever do enough for our coaches or for our kids. Sometimes our parents too. Well, Jen, this has just flown by. I've really enjoyed visiting with you. We kind of have come to the end, but we always like to wrap up with what we call the athletic director's toolbox. You are certainly a veteran, a successful AD. And now your task is to send a new AD, brand new athletic director, out to their first job. And you're going to give them a toolbox, but I'm only going to let you put 3 things in it. So what's going to go in your athletic director toolbox?
Okay. I would say be empathetic, be understanding. Every single one of these kids has a story, and take time to learn their story. I would tell them to be approachable. It's so important. So, even if you're having a bad day, even if you're running from meeting to meeting, even if you're frustrated, when you exit that door or when they enter your office, you have to be approachable. And for me, that's been something that I learned over the years. I fought for a long time because I was young and I had to be, stern and very disciplined. And I can do all those things still and be approachable. I learned that. The last thing I would tell them in their toolbox, it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay for someone to ask you a question and you to say, you know what, that's a great thought. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Because back in the day, I would just start spitting out things and it probably didn't make any sense. It probably wasn't the right answer because I thought I had to have the answer. And I would say, you know what, it's okay. You don't always have to have an answer.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. I remember those days very well. They'd be halfway through a parent, sharing their concern, and I'm already trying to provide 6 different answers instead of just listening and just letting them get it off their chest. Jen Brooks, thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This was great.
Best of luck with the global community of women in high school sports. And again, if you want to get involved with that, that's Jen Brooks at Ursuline Academy in St. Louis. Thanks for joining us on the Educational AD Podcast. We hope you tune in again.